The danger of comfort isn't what you lose today, it's what you'll never become tomorrow. And I used to think I was just being patient, waiting for the right time, and that time never came. Really, what I was doing was protecting my comfort, and it was slowly killing my potential. And every time I stayed safe, another version of me died quietly. And maybe that's you. You're not lazy, you're just comfortable. You talk about fulfilling your purpose, but never step into it because it feels comfortable. It's because comfort feels like control. And the truth is, comfort does not protect you, it only prevents you. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through what comfort is really costing you and how to break free from it so you can become the version of yourself God's been calling you to become. Now, when I was getting back into doing content on social media, I was honestly faced with this. I was afraid and was just enjoy being in control and being comfortable with where I was at. I was comfortable with not being on social media. And during this time frame, it was like a couple months time frame. I had just ended my previous business of running clothes for about 2 years. I went off social media for about 3 months, and I was focusing on developing skills. So I was participating in a lot of skill building things, so like projects and pitch competitions and business competitions. I was trying to learn how to market better. I was trying to learn like Facebook ads and everything. That didn't necessarily work out, but all work works. But honestly, I had missed being in business because for this time period, although I was comfortable and I was fine where I was at, I was beginning to miss business a little bit more. But I wasn't, I felt like I was not ready. I was being patient until it was time for me to get back into running business. But really what I was doing was I was killing off the version of myself that was trying to come out. I was so focused, I was so comfortable with not being on social media. I was so comfortable with being incognito, with not showing my face on social media no more. Because originally I did social media, but when I got off of social media, if anybody knows, when you get off of social media for a long time, to get back on it feels weird and you don't necessarily want to get back on it. But for me, I knew it was time for me to get back on it. And it wasn't until right before the summer I knew I needed to get back on social media to do content. Because again, I wanted to start another business, but I just did not know what that business was going to be. And for a couple weeks, I wrestled with getting back to doing content. I kept saying, I'll wait, it's not time yet. But God was telling me to start, even if it isn't perfect. I was so focused on being a perfectionism. I was so focused on trying to be perfect. I was so focused on saying, yes, this is not the right time. Maybe next week will be the right time. And I didn't even know what business I was starting yet. So I was like, why should I get back on doing content, Lord? But the Lord was convicting me like more and more as the days went by, like, get back and start doing content. And sometimes we don't realize how important it is for you to say yes to the Lord when He tells you to do something. And for those couple weeks, I wrestled with it. I'm like, yeah, I don't need to get back on it. Not time yet. It's not perfect. And at one point I was like, you know what? I gotta stop. I gotta get out of my comfort zone. I gotta stop trying to be in control. And I knew I needed to do something before I could stay committed. So I went on Amazon and I ordered me a whiteboard because I realized, like, when I talk and I like to teach, I like to write on the whiteboard. And the whiteboard cost me money, which I knew once I pay for it, I'm going to be invested into it, which means I have no choice but to do content because I don't want to have a big whiteboard sitting in my room and I'm not using it. So fast forward, I got the whiteboard. And in my first video, you can go back and look, it was in the beginning of summertime. It was about stepping out on faith. And that video was really about me. It was talking about how Peter did not know he could walk on water until he actually stepped outside the boat to actually walk on the water. But it wasn't until he lost focus on Christ that he began to sink. But the purpose of that was that Peter had to step out first to realize that he can do it. And that was me. That is maybe you. You have to step out first, your comfort zone, to realize that you are capable of doing it. And honestly, looking back, not only did I feel like Peter, I feel like Moses. When God called him to go talk to Pharaoh, Moses was so focused on his stutter that he could not see that God was with him. He was so focused on the big task. He forgot a big God was with him. He was so worried about the response of others. He forgot God controls the narrative. God was telling Moses to go. He was telling him, I am sending you. He was telling him, I will be with you. And Moses was so focused on himself. And that was me. I felt the same way. I felt inadequate. I felt insecure. I was afraid of what people was going to say to me. I was comfortable where I was. I was so focused. I was just so afraid of what people were going to think about me getting back on content, me getting back on social media. And it was the complete opposite of what I expected. Like, literally, we worry so much about things and make things bigger than what they really are. People were actually happy for me to get back on content. Like, it was pretty inspiring for me to get back on and see the feedback that I got from people. But it wasn't until I stepped outside my comfort zone and I let go of being in control. Every day and every moment going by, I was wasting time because I was comfortable. I didn't want new. I didn't want to feel the uncertainty of wondering if this is going to work. Until I said, it's time to step out the boat like Peter. Which brings me to my first point. Stop focusing on yourself. I found myself so focused on myself, I was wondering if anyone would still follow me. Will people still support me? Would I be labeled as cringe? I wanted to please everyone and stay in my bubble, but really I was pleasing no one. And when you're so focused on yourself, you forget the big picture. You tend to look at how things are going to benefit yourself and not the ones around you. Better yet, I forgot that the work you're doing is to build God's kingdom. God gave each of us an amount of faith, a gift, and talent, a calling on your life. And at the end of your life, you will be judged by what you did with it and also what you did not do with it. This reminds me of a sermon by John Bevere about living with eternity in mind. Live with the mindset that at the end of your life, when you stand before God at the seat of judgment, He will look at the book He wrote on your life and see how much of it you did. What God calls you to do is bigger than yourself. It's bigger than this world. It's for His kingdom. We have to be careful in building what the Lord has called us to do. But first, you have to stop focusing on yourself and live with eternity in mind on what the Lord is calling you to do for His kingdom and not for yourself. Point 2, you must recognize the signs. Look around at what signs are being repeatedly said towards you. Look at images. Look at what scriptures are speaking to you. God speaks to us in very irregular ways. Sometimes, but often, it's always catered to you in a way that only you can understand. This causes you to reflect. It causes you to think about what God is speaking to you about, and sometimes it's asking God for wisdom and guidance. For example, God called Moses from a bush. God spoke to Joshua from an angel. From an angel and from I think it was an arm barrier, but He spoke to him from an angel. Stop thinking everything is a coincidence. No, God does everything for a reason. Don't neglect what God may be speaking to you about because you're looking for a clear and big bold letter that says go do this. That's not how it always works. Sometimes you must step out on confidence that the Lord is leading you down the right direction. Be receptive to what signs are speaking to you and know God's grace will still cover you if you interpret the sign wrong. Know that God's grace is sufficient. Therefore, it's enough. So therefore, when you're going to do these things and you're afraid if it's not going to work, know His grace is with you and it's sufficient enough to cover you even if you make the wrong turn. And my last point for stepping outside your comfort zone is DKP, my framework of deciding, killing, and pursuing. Decide you're going to go all in. Decide you're going to pursue that calling. Decide you're going to go in all in for it. Kill off all those other options. Kill off the opinions of others. Kill off the choices. Decisions and choices are not the same thing. Kill off those things and only pursue. You pursue and go all in. Stay committed to it and don't turn your back towards it. Once God calls you to something, make the decision to follow after it. Kill off everything else, what man has to say, what your thoughts have to say, what your opinions are. Kill that off and pursue it and go all in. Stay committed to it. Deciding means to kill off those options, kill off the doubt, and kill off everything holding you back from the decision. Kill the options of going back. Kill the option of giving up. Pursue and don't look back. Go all in. The time now is for you to step out the boat in faith. It's time to put up those excuses and step into what God placed you here for. Stop allowing your comfort to be your God and step into the uncomfortable. The time is now, and your future is waiting on you. And if you made it this far, thank you. If this video resonated with you, drop down below in the comments your favorite part and share with a friend who needs to hear this. It's time to step outside your comfort zone. Make sure you like, comment, and share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Stay blessed and step outside that comfort zone.